All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, non binary, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers, as I like to say. This is Oliver, and I'm in a bunker I like to call Studio 72, the People's Republic of Multnomah County. And I wanted to fire off a quick one. Well, actually, in my mind, I've been thinking about how do I condense a brief history of the Green Party. We got Dr. Cornel West is being called the nominee. We haven't had a nominating convention. So we go through this every election cycle. They try to do an insider coronation, if you will. It's kind of an insider coronation. I hate that term, but I mean that's what the Democrats do. And we really are having major infiltration and problems for years in the Green Party with Democrat infiltrators who are really more like communists, more like Marxists, really like totalitarians. And I think there's a definite connection between Rep. AOC out of New York, Sandy, the greatest margarita bartender in all of New York. You gotta love it. When she hijacked the Green New Deal's platform, she hijacked literally, and then took it on the House floor and said that it was we're coming for your cheeseburgers, we're coming to shut off your bacon, and we're coming for your trucks, and it's about cow farts because cow farts are going to explode Earth, and we've only got about 5 years left, which means we've got to eat the babies, eat the babies. That was one of her forums. Is she never corrected the woman that said we got to eat the babies. So to me, that is a serious hijacking when you can incorporate eating babies and cow farts into a bunch of wildly very unpopular, very unknown type of smack from Rep. AOC, adulterating and abusing what the Green New Deal platform was really about, and that's a jobs program. Jobs program, not much different in what how we perceived it. I perceived it. Been with the Green Party for nearly 30 years, by the way. Um, I was like a teen, just about a teen coming out. I've never voted for a Democrat on the presidential level, and I've never campaigned for one. There was a brief little hiccup in 2008 with Obama as his attempt to bump Hillary Clinton out of the primary contest. That I did do some alignment with a couple of other activists, if you will. This is 2008. But you can't call me a Democrat campaigner just from that. Again, I wanted to do a very brief type of condensed. What are we at there? We're at 3 minutes. See, I'm going to have to do a live stream and get into a little deep dive on this because there's too much to say. So I'm trying to condense a little bit of some of the problems that we keep having with independent Green Party, third party, is we have these infiltrators that come in, narcissists. Sometimes they're sent, sometimes they're just mentally defective, like mental illness. Narcissism is a personality disorder, it's a mental illness. We tend to attract a lot of narcissists, people that want to come in and push their agenda rather than thinking of the best interest of the team. This is a huge problem with the Green Party and independent politics just in general. Could be politics in general across the board, but you don't see it as much when you've got millionaires and billionaires in industry, big tech, and all this big pharma and all this other stuff that's controlling the Democrats and the Republicans. It's a little bit different with the third parties, and the Libertarians always get left out of that conversation. They are third party. I don't know why people get so tripped up on that. And they scoff at the Green Party because they don't think we're a real third party, but we have been. Now I've stepped back greatly from Green Party. I don't do any of national. I was a delegate for years. I don't do any type of correspondence. Once they boot you out, they shut off all your email. You can't read anything. You're totally ostracized. And it could be something as simple as saying we should work as a team rather than in splinter groups. Like the Lavender Caucus that wants to work on trans rights, and the Black Caucus, which they actually are probably the more solid over all the years of all the caucuses in the Green Party, have been some of the best. They're the only ones that pushed back against these vaccine jab mandates and everything else that was going on with the whole package deal, lockdowns, the targeting, and blah blah blah. So they did do that. It was a little late, and it was clouded by Howie Hawkins saying everybody go get boosted, get your boosters, and listen to Fauci. And so even today, Dr. Cornel West refers to Fauci as Brother Fauci. Brother Fauci. Now, I know that I've noticed that he tends to call a lot of people. I understand the dynamics. I understand there's even like a cultural thing, but I understand these different dynamics. I'm not trying to sound like a buffoon, but Fauci is not our brother. Dr. Fauci is very, very different. And Dr. Cornel West, his mind is not there. And there's an interview with Pasta, and he's been doing some improvs with on Jerry Dore's show, or Jimmy Dore, could be Jerry though, Jimmy Dore's show. So and Pasta, he's really captured an amazing interview as Dr. Cornel West is referring to Brother Fauci and how Fauci was doing a great thing for the country and for people of color, communities of color, and blah blah blah. Totally clueless what experimental mRNA jabs are, totally clueless about what could be termed genocidal type of big pharma experiments. Totally clueless on all of that, and so when I hear that, it's a huge red flag. Now it might be ignorance. This is a doctor. This is a PhD. It's a tougher pill for me to swallow when we're dealing with people who are PhDs and claim to be intelligent. They sound intelligent or can sound intelligent. So now with Dr. Cornel West, I do want to say this one point, is that this guy is very eccentric. Very eccentric. Now, that's a plus in my book. I like eccentric. I'm an eccentric guy. I'm an eccentric artist. I've been self-employed with art collectives and art galleries. I've worked with eccentric artists and activists my entire life. I'm now 51. I don't mind eccentric. I like eccentric. Eccentric sells in the marketing, in the art world. Really, all the entertainment and arts. I mean, it just depends on how you look at it, but I don't want to go into too much of that, but because there is varying degrees. And now when I use the word eccentric, there is varying degrees of problematic type of eccentric artists and people in general. And I have had my share of people that are just flat out, I don't call them eccentric at that point, it's called batshit crazy. And I'm not saying Dr. Cornel West is that, but he's eccentric. Now that could be a plus because it has potential to be a charisma type of dynamic. Charisma attracts people. So eccentric, charismatic is good in politics, third party at least. I could argue across the board. If you're a vanilla, plain, how do I say? You're going to be mocked and you're going to be kicked to the curb by the voters and America and the media. So I don't mind that. But, looking at some of these interviews that Dr. Cornel West has done, one with, which props to going on the Hannity show. He went on Hannity for an interview. But you see Cornel West in the interview, and he's like looking up here at the ceiling. He's like, and Hannity's asking him questions, like campaign platform questions. And Cornel West is up here, looking at lighting, and he's kind of rocking a little bit. He's got these. I notice he's got this kind of creepy little rock, like the Gates rock, the unfortunate genocidal Adolf Hitler rock, the notorious, what I meant is infamous, not eccentric. But you see him because he's on so many drugs, he's on so much speed. Not Dr. Cornel West, but Adolf and Gates. Gates is a sociopath. But when I see that little rock like that, Cornel West, Dr. West is doing that. Again, it's not a deal breaker. I'm just saying that he's got these really quirky. When someone's doing an interview and you're on Hannity, I mean, why are you looking up at the lights, and tapping? And it's like, what's up there, doctor? I mean, are you checking on, is the lighting not to your liking? Or that's bordering on what I call eccentric and charismatic into not so good. But that's not the major deal-breaking concerns for me with Dr. Cornel West. Cornel West brain is not totally away from Brother Fauci, Brother Bernie. He calls Bernie Sanders Brother Bernie still. Even though now we're seeing this back and forth in the stage theater of, he's a very independent guy. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. This kind of a thing. You got Bernie Sanders doing the circuit on Meet the Press, and this was about 2 weeks ago. And it is just so symbolic. You got Bernie Sanders. He was up dicking around in New Hampshire or something. I don't even remember what the event was. But he's in a completely empty room. There's probably hundreds of seats behind Senator Sanders, but he's alone, all by himself. Bernie's in this room doing a one-on-one with Meet the Press with not a single supporter behind him. Hundreds and hundreds of chairs, empty. Not even a stagehand. There's nobody even vacuuming behind him. Nobody. Crickets. Nothing. And I thought, boy, that really symbolizes Bernie Sanders, right? I mean, it's not me, it's us. And there's nobody left in our revolution behind good old sheepdoggy Bernie, burn. Total scammer, and I've called that guy out from day one. In fact, even before 2016 when he got heated up in 2015. Nothing should be more obvious to you young millennial Democrats, burners at one point. Nothing should be more obvious to you than what a complete fraud shill Senator Bernie Sanders is and has been to you for several years as he was leading you along. I don't even believe. Now, granted, I'm a Green Party. I've got some bias. But I had to deal with hundreds of thousands of Democrats, burners or excited about burners, or really just the millennials coming into our groups, arguing, coming in, ridiculing Greens and all of this, as they later come and hijacked our platform, our language, Green New Deal, G&D. But as they're in for years attacking us, I'm that guy on the front lines that's been handling these groups, or I did back in the day, and fielding these young burners, as they will, Democrats and millennials, really. So what did I want to say about that? But so I'm hearing from them as I'm arguing, and I'm having to lay out that Bernie Sanders has been a top Democrat bundler for 20 years with the DNC. This is not an outsider. Yeah, but he's independent. But yeah, he says all the. Yeah, but this is different. He's different. We've never had a Bernie Sanders. Never had a Bernie Sanders. Oh, really? Well, he's completely been exposed. And if you don't see that now as he's rallying behind bungling, sniffing, RICO indicted or soon to be RICO indicted Joe Biden and the Biden crime family, you missed a lot of history. You've either been drunk in a bar for 10 years or you're headed to a bar for 10 years. You are in a different zone. Even a drunk person in a bar knows more than you do at this point if you don't understand Bernie Sanders is a total, complete fraud shill. Now, sold out all of you, sold out America, sold out everyone, and in a room with nobody else but 100 vacant, empty chairs talking to Chuck Todd about what a great thing Biden is and what a great deal Biden is for. And we got to rally behind Biden because this is the deal. And here you've got Rep AOC. Was I not right about Rep AOC, Sandy, the greatest margarita mixer in New York? Was I not right about her? As you called me sexist and xenophobic and racist because I was simply pointing out she's a bought and paid for tool. She's now sold every single one of your blood, sweat, and tears and hearts and souls out to Joe Biden and the Democrat National Committee. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention. I haven't been preaching Green Party independent platform for as many years as I did because I was somehow trying to snooker you into some cult psyop of Green Party. I was preaching you the truth. We, collectively, the old schoolers, the elders of the Green Party, we were teaching you the truth and telling you the truth, preaching the truth. Not because we wanted to manipulate you, because we knew that if we don't waken the hearts and minds and win the hearts and minds of the younger generation and snap them out into the red pill moment, this country is dead. This country is doomed. And it's not going to go to some utopian communist delusion. We're going to go into totalitarian lockdowns with one party and no elections. That's what East Germany became. So, I think that's it's way longer than I wanted. I'm going to have to do a live stream because I'm already at 16 minutes. It'll take 25 minutes to upload this, so a live stream would be better to do a deep dive on it. But that's basically kind of what I wanted to get out there. Now, Peter Dow, there's this Twitter, Dr. Jill Stein, who I worked on her campaign in 2012, 2016. And I like her. She's got a lot of charisma, but she really is totally clueless. She's clueless because she's joined the globalist concept that top-down carbon tax, Paris Accords, somehow that changes people's hearts and minds. Somehow that doesn't kill tens of millions of starving people. Many of them, unfortunately, communities of color in Africa, elsewhere. My cat just turned the air conditioner on. That's hilarious. How much does your cat turn the air conditioner on? Mine does. I hate talking smack about Dr. Jill because I know that there's a good heart in there, but when she's coming out on Twitter saying, "Oh, wait, it wasn't Dr. Cornel West that wants Peter Dow, the old school Democrat hack, wants to be the campaign manager. So we're going to siphon all the poor, low-income Greens donations straight into this millionaire elitist so he can campaign and control. And at the end, take a knee and a bow to the Democrat Party and probably end up endorsing Biden before the end of this comes next year." That's what they do. If they don't have a backbone coming in, if they haven't snapped out of the Democrat Party trap, the mental trap, the psychological trap, they end up capitulating. And we've seen this over and over and over again with different campaigns. I saw it just here with the Pacific Green Party with an obvious operative, Natalie, who's, I think, losing her medical license because she was doing a bunch of illegal pharmaceutical, abuse of pharmaceuticals. So she was running for governor, and she ends up not just bowing out because she's going to be exposed as a total shill and a fraud and under investigation. She's got a bunch of national connections as well, and really a despicable person that's attacked all of us, especially men in the state party here in Oregon, which is just sick in itself, man. If you're attacking men, go to psychotherapy, all right? Don't attack the men that are here working with the party, all right? Especially on a local state level, but I digress. It backed the Democrat, Tina Kotek, made it public and came out. So on that small level, you're like, oh, nobody cares. It matters to us. It matters to us who are in the trenches. It matters to us, the elders, the independent green elders that have done this our whole lives, fighting the corporate establishment hacks. We've been abused and tortured by Democrats Republicans, uniparty operatives across the board for decades. So you don't understand why we are so passionate about being independent and not bringing in these Peter Dow, and all these, and Dr. Cornel West for that fact. When you're calling Fauci Brother Fauci, you missed some memos, boss. You missed a lot of data. When you're calling Bernie Brother Bernie, after he has tossed the entire Our Revolution campaign down the toilet, sold out America so he could buy a couple more mansions, you've missed the mark in the memo. You're not ready for Green Party. You're not ready to have the brand. You're not ready to be our nomination, our nominee, which we need a nominating convention to be the legal nominee. So we have Dr. Jill coming out, taking control, doing a bunch of manipulation, all these psychological operations that Dr. Jill does really well. Anybody that's worked around her knows that's what she does really well. And she's now piecing together this whole Democrat team that in the end is probably going to cave like she did in 2016, offering Bernie Sanders the platform, offering Bernie Sanders to come take over and be the nominee of the Green Party. You can't do that. You can't be the presidential nominee unless you've shown a track record of building the Green Party on state and national level. It's in the platform and bylaws. We're so hijacked by Marxist communist at this point, nobody's even reading the platform. Nobody's even fighting for the platform. It's kind of like you guys have demolished us. Howie Hawkins and a bunch of goofball Marxist communists in New York. What a bunch of idiots telling people to, go get in line with Big Pharma? Let's go to war with Russia for a nuclear holocaust? Russia-phobic Big Pharma pushing? Howie Hawkins. Oh, but Howie Hawkins has been running for the Green for 30 years. Did he ever win? No, Howie Hawkins been running for local seats on state in New York for 30 years, 25 attempts, never even won dog catcher. But you're going to hijack the entire and coronate Howie Hawkins in 2020 and bypass any new blood and any new voices that are coming out and being pushed and supported by this other state parties. So that's the final thing, is that the state parties are the backbone of the National Green Party. National Green Party does not dictate to us. Without ballot access, your little coronated Democrat con artist can't be put on the ballots without a whole bunch of work and a bunch of money, which it can be done in the right environment. It was done with Dr. Jill in 2016. But I was on the ballot access committee. I saw all that. I saw how much work and how much money and funding and how much coordination it takes to do that. And you have to have a candidate that's charismatic. You have to have a candidate that's got the backing of the base, which we are very, very small at this point. There's probably, that's so bad at this point, I don't even know if I could scrape numbers together. But Dr. Jill pulled in, I think it was 1 million people, 1 million votes. We had probably about 200,000 registered Greens or Green affiliates, people that aren't really registered because their state doesn't recognize the Green Party as being registered in their state party, Bill of Rights or protocol. You have a certain threshold that you have to do as an independent and as a Green to maintain your ballot access. So when someone here in Oregon, a 30-year Pacific Party Oregonian like myself, we've done those battles for 3 decades to maintain our ballot access and make sure we don't lose it through fuck-ups and mishaps and a bunch of goofball candidates, which we get a lot of goofball candidates and infiltrators. So major red flags with Cornel West. It doesn't have anything to do with him looking up at the lighting during Hannity's, which that is awfully odd, or his little rocking thing that he keeps doing in other interviews I'm catching online. It's like, stop rocking like a douche. Stop looking up at the lights. Make some valid connect. Stop pushing communism. Stop pushing Marxism. Stop pushing all this bullshit, this woke garbage crap that you just tweeted today, or the last couple days, or maybe the last couple years. I don't follow you closely. But that crap is not resonating with America. That crap is not resonating with 333 million Americans. And we need those hearts and minds to get ballot access and then to maintain ballot access. 1% on the federal levels or 3% on a presidential campaign. Those 1% and 3% don't seem like a lot. Howie Hawkins screwed us in 2020. We've only got just a few states that even have ballot access. Oregon's one. We have ballot access. But we sure aren't going to rally behind Dr. Cornel West with all this Peter Dow, Democrat operatives, and all this Marxist communist jargon and bullshit. Fuck that shit. We almost backed Governor Jesse Ventura, although he turned out to be kind of a big pharma kind of softy mushy mush on the jabs as well. Later down the road, we discovered that. At the time, Governor Ventura seemed pretty solid on a lot of things. So anyway, I wanted to do a quick one. That's gone in too far, but I did want to make those statements about my perspectives on Dr. Cornel West. It's not that he's looks eccentric or he's and all this and that, because I can deal with that personally. That might scare some voters. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about us not being independent and not standing the line of the independence of a Green Party, not carrying water for Democrat operatives. That's a failure. That's the white flag of surrender. That's not a green flag. We are free market. We're not communists. We're not anarcho-com supporters like some of these jackasses down in Lane County were doing in 2020. There's a bunch of these dipshits. They're idiots. They're not greens. They're anarchists. And anarchist comms are not Green Party people because they're not free market. So it's a train wreck. But if we can get a right couple of players that will find independent ground and not align with these Democrats, which that's not what's happening, we've got a chance of rebuilding some ballot access in the states. But at this point, it looks pretty brutal. I have my own personal opinions, and I'm not going to be. I didn't vote Green in 2020, even though I'm still registered. Never changed my registration in Oregon to help with the ballot access. Registration, you got to have a certain amount of registered people. It's just dropping. But I've never done that. I actually voted Donnie in 2020 because of the train wreck in the operations. I am not going to vote for a Democrat operative ran and surrounding himself with a bunch of other phony Democrat or even anarcho-communists, which are slightly better than your mainstream Democrat, but they're all the same at this point in my book. Unfortunately, that's what happened with the anarcho-coms. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say. I said too much on that. I wanted to do a live stream to do what I did here, so maybe I'll do that later on the YouTube. But peace out, man. It's a battle. Be strong.